Okay, you're back with the immensely scruffy one, Cool Dude Clem. And, well, I got a request to do a video on how I do my videos, so let's get started. Okay, so this is my workstation where all the magic happens, and yeah, I'm sorry I can't get it all in the picture, but this camera just simply will not go far back enough. I've got it right up against the wall. This is about as far as I can get it. But you can see, I've got my monitor here. And my two printers, this one is a black and white LaserJet printer, this one is a colour printer which is also a scanner, which I don't actually use that for printing anymore, I just use it for scanning. But as we go further down, you can see more of the workstation. Got this front bit which I built, two speakers, here's the actual amplifier itself which came out of a pair of amplified computer speakers, keyboard and two mice. Yes, you're not seeing things, there are two mice on this computer, although you can't really see one of them. Let's just move that a little bit. Let's just try to get that all in the shot. So as you can see, this is my workstation. And even though there's two mice, I only get one mouse pointer. So I can move the pointer with this, although you can't really see it, so I'll bring something up so you can actually see me doing stuff with this mouse. As you can see, this mouse works. And so does this mouse. I hope I'm not getting in the way. I'll get right down so we can see what I'm doing. So you might be wondering why I have two mice on this computer. Well, that's so when one hand gets tired I can switch over to the other hand without having to move the mouse about. And it's kind of convenient that way. This is the camera that I use when I do my videos. It's an ordinary digital camera, nothing really special. As you can see, don't really know how good I'm holding this up to the camera because although I can see the picture from the webcam that I'm using to record this right now, on the computer the picture's completely frozen. This is the webcam that I'm using. It's a little Microsoft LifeCam thing, which doesn't really like mains frequency lighting, which is why the picture's all flickery. But yes, this is the camera that I use, and one really annoying thing about this camera is that the focus constantly drifts in and out. And there's absolutely no way to override this. It doesn't have any kind of manual focus on it, or at least no manual focus that I can find, and the macro shot doesn't really help much either. In fact, it seems to focus in on something completely different to what I actually wanted to focus on. But anyway, that's the cameras that I use. This one is mainly used for the video shooting, and the little webcam is for when I shoot my cartoons. Anyway, let's take a look at some of the software that I use. Okay, so since you ask what program I'm using to do my videos on, here it is. Adobe Premiere. Let's just see if we can get something about it. This is what I use to edit my videos. Adobe Premiere 6.5. Now I know it's quite an old program, and there have been many new releases of this since then. This works for me, it does everything I need, so it ain't broke so I don't fix it. But unfortunately, there are some slight drawbacks with this. Now on my desktop I have a temporary folder which I dump all the files that I've shot with my camera. This is all the footage that I shot today, so if I play, say, this file here. Camera's recording, tape recorder's recording, computer's recording, hopefully. You can see what I shot earlier. Obviously that is uncut footage, so there's going to be a lot of stuff in there that's not going to make it into the video. But if I try to put these files into Adobe Premiere, what you can see here, right on here at the moment, is what I shot with the webcam, and this is what Adobe Premiere recorded. Not much either. In fact, it seems to focus in on something completely different to what I actually wanted to focus on. But anyway, let's just try to import a file that I recorded with the camera. So I import file, let's just go to that folder right now. There is temp. If I try to put any of these files in, as you can see, it just don't want to know, it puts up an error. Because those files that the camera records are in QuickTime format, and they've got H.264 compression, I think, and that just doesn't work with this software, so I've got a little workaround for that. This is Super by eWriteSoft, and it's a freeware program, Don't have to pay for anything. And this is what I use for all my video encoding. So I can just drag the files in there. I like it to downsize the videos to 1280 by 720. I could have it on the full 1080p, but can't be bothered to work with files of that large. I use Motion JPEG compression because that's the easiest compression to work with, and uncompressed wave. So, got that all set up the way I want it to. Just press encode and away it goes. I have to wait for a few minutes while it does that. So, while we're waiting for that to encode, let's go on to see some of the other stuff that I use. So, what are these two things we have here? Well, what you're looking at here, this rather sophisticated looking tape recorder, is what I actually use to record the sound with. Anyway, you can now see a close-up of it. You can see the meters moving when I'm talking, and all the fancy controls it has, and the tape that's actually being recorded on. Now, I know some of you are thinking, why don't I just use the camera's microphone? Well, the reason for that is because the camera's microphone sounds absolutely terrible. In fact, let's go over to how the camera's microphone sounds right now, so I can show you. Okay, so we have now switched over to the sound of the camera's microphone, and as you can hear, it's quite noisy, it's quite muffled and low, and really it's no good for videos, so that's why I use a separate microphone. Because get much better sound out of that, and I can talk into it rather than shouting into the camera's microphone hoping that it'll pick it up clearly, and well, it's just generally better to do it this way. And down here is a recent addition to the way the videos are done. This is a microphone preamp that I've made. It has a built-in automatic level control. This is the sound level. As you can see, I can adjust the sensitivity like that. Also got low and high cut filters, so I can adjust the sound how I want it to. I think I had it like that, so that's how I'm going to leave it. Now, somebody said that's very unprofessional looking, but I don't care. It's functional, and that's all that matters. So anyway, when that's done, the tape then gets transferred onto the computer, and that gets synced up with the video that's being edited, and that's basically how I do it. Okay, so I've now converted those files. This folder here is my raw footage folder. This is where all the converted footage goes that I can use with my video editor. There's also some other stuff here from some YouTube videos that I downloaded that I wanted to muck about with, but we won't go into that right now. Anyway, let's go into Adobe Premiere, try to import the files, those newly converted files. This is still the temporary directory, remember, it will not import those. Of course, it would help if the camera was zoomed out. Right, so let's try to import that from the converted files. Just got to try and find it. There it is, raw footage. It's file 17, let's see if we can find it. There it is, file 17. And there we go, imported it absolutely fine with no trouble. The file size is 1280 by 720, which is the size I specified, and I can drag that onto the timeline. I can easily scrub through and edit it how I need to. You know, having something like this where I can scrub through and hear the audio as I'm going through and precisely pinpoint editing what I'm saying, so it sounds more like I know about what I'm talking about, even though I do know what I'm talking about, but every time I turn the camera on, my mind just goes. Just why I have to retake things about 17,000 times before I finally get it right. But anyway, this is the editing software I use. Now, just before I go, some of you may remember that funny little intro I did in one of my videos where it looked like the video had been blocked, although it actually wasn't. Just to show you what I used for that. I don't have that video on here anymore because I delete the videos afterwards because I need to save hard drive space, but I do have some of it in this folder here, which I've called Rotoscope. And I called that because of the technique that's used. I don't actually know if it's called Rotoscope, but that's what I call it anyway. What I did was I took part of that video, and in that video I was holding up a green screen, and the green screen was originally what I was going to use. I was going to have the computer remove the green screen from the video and replace it with the background that looks like the video's blocked, but let's just take a look at one of the files here. As you can see, there's all kinds of highlights and shadows appeared on the green screen, making it completely unusable. So what I did, I saved that whole sequence of that video, that whole 1.5 seconds or whatever it was. I saved all of those frames as separate bitmap files, and just went through and edited each and every one. Wherever there was the green screen, I just painted over that in paint with green as we go through each video, each picture. Get more of a clearer image, idea of how I did that. Then of course I just made that into a video file and applied the green screen filter. So anyway, that's basically the software that I use. So finally, when I want to export a file, let's say I want to export this. Obviously this isn't what I'm going to upload to YouTube, but I'm just doing this for a demonstration purpose. I go into the file, export timeline, into movie, give it a name. I'll just call it blah. And the settings I use are, when I can find them, Xvid MPEG-4 codec. I know there's others I could use. I mean, I could go into FFD Show and get a whole bunch more codecs that I could use, but I like to use Xvid. Works for me, so that's what I use. And for the audio, I use AC3 codec, and I save that. That's the file that gets uploaded to YouTube. Well, it's not this file that's going to be uploaded to YouTube. It'll be the file that that this video is going to be, but there we go. That's basically how I do it, and I hope that sheds some light on things, and I've got to get on with a few other things now, so until next time, goodbye. I'll just stop this because I don't really need it.